Come on. Ah, there she is. Hello. Let me start that again. Take two. Hi, everyone. This is Coach Rati of Creative Calling Coaching. And I'm very excited and a little nervous, to be perfectly honest, because today I want to give you an overview and some experience of what will be launching in 2026. I am starting a group program called the Neuro Muse Incubator. And today, this talk is called Creative Alignment. It is a taste of the Neuro Muse Incubator. First, a little about myself. I'm Coach Rati Gorfine. I was an actress and a playwright for 30 years. I still consider myself an actor. That's part of my identity. A theater artist, part of my identity. And that's why I love to work with artists. I think in the end, as coaches, we often end up coaching ourselves. So I work particularly with the neurodiverse. I would say we're all neurodiverse, but people who are identified with being creatives have a particular type of neurodiversity. We tend to be tangential thinkers. We tend to be highly impacted and empathic to the feelings of others and our own feelings. Very often, how we feel overrides what we want. And that's why I created this concept of the NeuroMuse Incubator. It's about structure. The thing about people with ADHD and other neurodiversely labeled conditions is we resist structure. Here's the thing, though, we thrive within it. We need it, but it has to be the correct structure. So, before I go into describing what that will be, tell you a little about myself. I started coaching professionally in 2003. I really started in 1995 after a 2.25-year stint in an ashram after the theater broke my heart. I came back to New York City and I had learned one thing, having been kicked out of a cult, which is quite a distinction, and that is company is stronger than will. And if you want to get something done, don't try to do it alone. So I started creating groups, support groups, goal-oriented support groups, peer support groups that I facilitated, starting with my friends who had dreams. I used Barbara Sher's Wishcraft as a framework for that. I recommend looking her up, finding that book, because to me, she is the mother of coaching and the queen of going for what you want, despite how you feel. So many of the structures I learned as a coach came from her. And I would create groups also inspired by The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. I did these groups for a few years and it allowed me to become a professional stand-up comedian. It allowed me to write and produce plays and work for myself. It allowed participants to do things like open bookstores and become DJs and garner a good deal of worldly success. And my husband, I did eventually find a partner. He told me I should start charging because there were a lot of things I was doing to make money, and they weren't a lot of fun. I didn't realize I was a successful entrepreneur at the age of about 24 because I had a macrobiotic cooking business, excuse me. And I had tapped into this vein of gold. I was cooking for a lot of jazz musicians, not just, run of the mill, but the ones who could afford a private cook like David Sanborn and Don Grolnick, the late great Don Grolnick, Will Lee. They recommended me to each other, and I was making very good money. The only trouble was I wanted to be them. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be recognized as an artist, and I was in the kitchen. So I wasn't happy doing that. And I did enjoy these groups. And that's why my husband said you should start charging, because you're getting incredible results. People are getting incredible results. So I figured out, what am I doing? I think what I'm doing is this new thing called coaching. By then, Landmark, formerly EST, had started functioning out of this framework and organizing this framework out of the mind of Thomas Leonard called coaching, where people would ask questions of one another and help each other bring their visions into the world. And there were trainings being established for it. The International Coach Federation, I believe, started by Thomas Leonard, identifies itself as the regulatory body of the coaching profession, and they established credentials for it. So I got some training. I decided some credentialing would be good, because even though I was working, coaching is one of those professions you can just call yourself a coach and do it, but that doesn't mean you know what you're doing. And I was sending a lot of people to shrinks because I would come up against these walls and obstacles around how to help them. So I decided I want to get some formal training. So I did. And now I go to cocktail parties and say, I am a professionally certified coach who helps scattered creatives focus so they can grab the focus of others, get seen, and make money doing what they love. Fast forward many years after having a very successful private coaching practice, I decided I wanted to make it my work more available and more affordable to more people. And so here we are at the initiation of the Neuro Muse Incubator. And there are 4 pillars to this Neuro Muse Incubator. One, I guess you could say the first would be masterminds or group coaching. And that will occur on a bi-weekly basis, maybe more often, I'm not sure. It depends on how many people enroll, in which I do what's called laser coaching. In other words, you get a spotlight. I coach you on a specific matter, and you learn from everybody else in the group who I coach. The second pillar will be co-working, in which I bring, everybody comes together. I'm not sure how many times a month, but we spend 2 to 3 hours working on what we've been putting off using the Pomodoro method. The third pillar and the fourth pillar have to do with spirituality. I've always been a spiritual person. I realize now that that's my motor. I came in learning over and over again that that's what I needed to function out of. I studied transcendental meditation at the age of 16, and it changed my life. I had been born into a very turbulent family, and it gave me an anchor. I would have moved into their commune, but my parents still had the last say. I was still a minor, and they didn't let me. I ended up living at the Kripalu Ashram before Guru Gate in the early 80s, 80 to 83. And again, I find that spiritual touchstones allow me to center and align with my purpose. Most of us get stuck because we forget why we do what we're doing. And whether you believe in a higher power or not, as human beings, distinct from other animals, we cannot live without mattering. We need to create meaning. Not just artists. I believe everyone is going to fall into a funk if they don't have a sense of meaning in their life to make it worth living. Now, particularly creative folk. Eric Mazel, one of my trainers, one of the people I studied with for creativity coaching, talks about existential depression. I think he coined that term. That's many times what blocks us as creatives. It's a meaning of crisis. We don't feel we're doing anything that matters. And so spiritual tools are one way to tap into meaning. Whether you believe in them or not, again, they are tools because ultimately we are choosing the meaning we want to make. And we're making it up. However, it needs to feel really grounded in us and aligned with our values. One way I do that is with the tarot. I don't use the tarot as a tool of divination. I ascribe to it more along the lines of Jungian archetype and as a prompt for the subconscious in order to work out our day-to-day problems and our core issues and problematic beliefs. And so there will be a tarot clinic included, and then I have studied intuitive healing, particularly the theta healing modality. So there will be a healing clinic. So just to recap, what you will have access to is group coaching, co-working, tarot coaching, and intuitive healing, all within this one program. And you will also have a community of fellow neuro spicy individuals with which to connect, collaborate, co-work, and if you like, create accountability partnerships. And you'll also have access to me. Everyone will have access to me via text or email. So I want to do a little, just a little tiny taste of tarot coaching right now. I'm going to assume that if you're listening to this, whatever card I pull is for you. And I'm going to use my beloved, my mother was a bit of a spiritual person herself. She didn't really identify that way publicly, but she read cards for people, and this is her card mat. Actually, most of the time, it was used to play boulotte, which is a French card game. Her mother loved to gamble. So this is both this particular mat, I don't know how far back it goes in my family, but it's got a lot of juju, a lot of good vibes. So I like to pull my cards upon it. And I'm using a lap desk so I can talk to you. I'm going to pull out my little mini deck of tarot cards so they fit on my lap desk. Ye old Rider-Waite-Smith classic tarot deck. And I like to say Rider-Waite-Smith because Smith is the last name of the woman who designed these cards, along with Rider and Waite, I guess, under their tutelage and specifications. So let's spread this out. I like to just mush my cards around like the world because really the tarot represents the world, the universe. It is all of the elements, past, present, future. I'm going to give you a little tarot lesson as I go. And the card I'm going to pull today, and maybe I'll pull a second, will have to do with, I'll pull 3 cards. What brought you here to listen to this podcast or webinar, whatever format it comes out in, what it is you hope to get out of it, and how to lean into that desire going forward. So it's sort of like past, present, future. Okay. So, okay, one. I'm very visual and kinesthetic in the way that I intuit into pulling the cards. Two, and one more. Three. Oh, I pulled two. Interesting. I'm going to read both of them. Sometimes when you pull more than one or one falls to the floor, it's called a jumper. And that means it wants to be read. It is meant to be seen. So, as you can tell, I am a little woo, even though this is not about divination. I do believe in synchronicity and serendipity and energy. And I just dropped the box on the floor. So whatever that means, I don't know. I'm just going to put the raw cards back in my pretty little travel box. All right, so let's see what we have here. Oh man, this is something. So the first card I pulled, having to do with what brought you here, is lovely. It is the, oh, let's see if I can make sure you see it. It's small, so it's a little hard. It is the, I'm going to do my best here, the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords. There are four suits, just like in a regular card deck, in a tarot deck. And they correspond to elements, not nature's elements. The swords correspond to air, and they have to do with thoughts, our thinking. And the minor arcana is ace through 10, and then you have the court cards. The minor arcana pertains to your challenges in this life, day to day to day to day. All right. And I picked mostly minor, but one major arcana card that's coming up next. This here, and you might look it up later, or I don't know, patch in. It doesn't help to, I'll just put it next to my face. You can't see it too well. Apologize for that. You can look these up later. Oh, that helps. The Ace of Swords, and you'll see the sword is coming up through a crown with laurel, has to do with victory. Ace through 10 is the journey, and I believe the court cards are about the mastery of the lessons of the journey. So what brought you here is feeling as though you are at the beginning or need a new beginning, and you're not sure about how to attain the victory you desire yet, but you feel that if you come here today, the ideas that are shared will be the first step to creating the life you want, coming up through that crown with those laurels, coming out of the clouds. You're here because on some level you know that you are co-creating your life with the universe and everyone in it, everything in it. So howdy, I'm who you've been looking for, apparently, okay? That's the first card. Second card, I love it. That's what you hope to get. Why you're here right now is it's just you feel as though what you're doing hasn't worked. The Tower, major arcana, these are about the big gestures, the big defining moments of life. The Tower is when it's all fallen apart. Whatever it is you've tried it just hasn't worked. It's heartbreaking. Everything you've built, the foundations on up, it's about that needing to come apart, needing to fall apart so that you can rebuild from a more solid foundation. This is high up there. This is, what do we got? 16 numbers, the 16th card in the major arcana. So, you've been around a minute. You've had your heart broken a few times. And maybe the reason you're here today is because at some point it was broken in a really big way, and you know that you need some tools and you need to start a new journey to rebuild. Okay. Now, what you want to lean into after this webinar going forward is the King of Wands. Now, as I said, the court cards are about mastery in the minor arcana. And the King, I mean, it's a little sexist, but in the hierarchy of mastery, I guess you could say the King is the peak of mastery. And the fact is, you are the master of your own life. No one else. It is also interesting because another way to look at this is the Queen and the King are both about leadership. The King is about the form leadership takes. And remember, I'm creating a container, a structure of opportunity in which to build the life you want. And I like to think of the kings as the lamp and the queens as the flame within the lamp that illuminates it. So you gotta build the lamp first. Now, what is the king holding? He's holding a wand. Fire element. The wand has to do with aspirations, strengths, talents, creativity, all of that wonderful stuff. Fire. It is the fire element. And to me, this king and this structure that you're creating is all about leaning into your strengths, your talents, not pathologizing them as weaknesses, but rather recognizing them as strengths and learning to work with those. Very beautiful. Finally, the jumper. I love this. The jumper is the 10 of Swords. Oh, people don't always feel too good when they see this card. And that's understandable. Look at that. Nothing you've tried has worked. All those thoughts, that air. It's over. Whatever you've been doing, it ain't been working. It's not working. That's what this card surmises. And to me, that says you are in the right place. This container will be the right place for you because you've come here knowing you need, like Einstein said, you're not going to solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. Well, you need new ways of thinking. You've had your heart broken often enough. And so you're taking the time to listen to this information. And on some level, you need to learn how to lean into your strengths, into your own unique form of leadership of yourself and of whatever else it is you want to create, or if there are other people who align with you for which you want to be a leader. This is where you want to go, okay? That was an interesting reading. I think. I don't know what you think. I'd be very curious to know what you think, if you have comments, and so forth. Now, the other thing we do is co-working. And the way, as I said, that is structured is you come together in a group of people and you have something you want to get done. And together, with our cameras on, we do it. Do I want to lead people through that now or not? No, I'm not going to take the time to just sit here in silence. All right. If you want to taste that, you're going to want to try out the incubator. Okay, but there's something magical about co-working is all I can tell you. So the way I would like to conclude today is with some intuitive healing to help you integrate all of this information and allow you to make a decision about whether the Muse Incubator will be right for you in 2026. And if you're watching this and you decide you want to enroll before December 1st, I'm going to give you a really steep discount. Let me tell you about what the cost of the Neuro Muse Incubator is. I hope I have it here on here somewhere. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. All I can tell you is this. It costs $997 a year. And it's worth a lot more than that, but that's what I'm charging. And I have payment plans starting at $36 a week for a minimum commitment of a month. Then there are payment plans that are by the month, by the quarter, 2 payments, and then, of course, pay in full is the most cost-effective, $997. If you enroll by December 1st, you're going to get 50% off the price for the first year. So I hope I've given you a sense of what this container will look like. And we all need a refuge. That's another thing that I think a container serves as, given the nature of what's going on in the world right now. You know, my son, it was really interesting when child becomes father to the man. In this case, son becomes parent to the woman. He came around to me and he noticed, Mom, whenever you have a break, you're listening to political podcasts. I don't know how healthy that is for you. Out of the mouths of babes. Well, I don't know how obsessed you are with current events. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be, because we're in the middle of a shit show, in my opinion. But you need a refuge if you're going to continue to do your own work. And you're also going to need a refuge if you can be of any use in the world as an activist. If you just let your life fall apart and become totally obsessed, you're going to burn out and not be of any use. And you're just going to get depressed. So to me, spiritual pursuits are not escapism. They're self-care so that you can show up for yourself and for the world. All right? And that's what this Muse Incubator is all about, creating that refuge in which you can practice self-care in community and fortify yourself for the work that you are here and meant to do. So let's end with a little healing. Wherever you are, I invite you to get comfortable. You might want to pause this recording or do it at a time when you have time to experience this healing. Okay, so hopefully you're here, you're back, or you never left. First of all, I'm going to turn my camera off because, no, that's okay. I'll stay in my chair. There we go. All right. Close your eyes. I recommend taking off your glasses. I'm going to lower the lights here a little. You want to have the lighting and the environment the way you want it. Okay, so take a few moments, pause this recording. You might want to light a candle. You might want to spray some sage, whatever it is that works for you. Or do nothing at all except find a comfortable seat. Okay. So close your eyes and feel your feet planted firmly on the floor. You don't have to press into the floor. Just notice where the floor meets your feet. And feel where your body meets your seat. And And relax your body and notice the breath dropping in. And take some long, deep breaths. As you inhale relaxation. As you exhale any concerns or worry or distraction. Now let go of any thoughts at all and just witness the breath. Witness the involuntary activity of breathing. Watch yourself being breathed by nature, by the power of all that is. Do a scan of your body from the top of your head through the bottoms of your feet and notice if you come across any tightness, just notice it and watch it melt away. So going down through your face and head, throat and neck, across the shoulders and down the arms, through the wrists, palm, hands, fingers, fingertips, down through the chest and back, all the way down your spine and belly, into the pelvic bowl, into one leg at a time, all the way through the upper leg, knee, calf, feet, foot, other leg now, starting from the hip socket. Make sure the hip socket on the other side is just relaxed as well, but now hip socket, upper leg, knee, calf, ankle, foot. And I'm going to be quiet now as you scan up in the other direction from the bottoms of the feet through the top of your head and release even more deeply into relaxation. Keep bringing your mind back to this focus of scanning your body. It will wander. Just keep gently bringing it back. Now I want you to imagine the center of the earth being a bright ball of fiery energy. And with each breath, that energy comes up towards you and begins to enter your body through the bottoms of your feet. And it swirls around in a bright, luminescent, but soothing color. Maybe it's just clear white, maybe it's lavender, but that energy is swirling up your ankles, calves, knees, and thighs, up through your fingertips, hands, wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, And back at the bottom where your body meets the seat, up through the pelvic bowl, up through the legs, merging, blending from the legs into the pelvic bowl. That energy is rising up through the chakras, up through your belly, through your diaphragm, up the spine, up into the heart center, into your chest, blending at the shoulders, up into your throat, up into your face and head, up through the top of your spine. And it's gathering at the top of your head and pooling there into a bright white light that emerges through the top of your head. And see yourself in your spirit body popping into that bubble of bright energy and light. And see it rise. As it rises, you see yourself below in your seat, still connected by the energy. You are rising up through the room you are in, up through the building and the roof of that building, up into the sky, so that you see the area below, the land below, but you are continuing to rise up into the atmosphere, up past the airplanes, up past the clouds, up, and out in all directions into the universe, up into the galaxies. You see yourself rising up, up through all the galaxies so that you can see the entire universe. Up, even push up beyond it with every breath, up into void, up into a bright light, and then still past layers of light and dark. Light and dark continue rising, breathing as you rise. Finally, through a bright white light into a golden hue. And in that golden hue, you may see shadows. You may feel the presence of others. This is the fifth plane, the plane of the saints and ancestors. And suddenly you feel hands gently helping you lift up even more into a thick, viscous-like layer of energy. These are the laws, the sixth plane of the laws. You may see geometric shapes. And you're floating up through that viscous energy. It's like molasses, but you keep going up, until finally you break through that layer into a bright white light, up even further into a beautiful pearlescent clear energy. Pearlescent energy of all that is the seventh plane. You are here fully. And I would like you to make the command, creator of all that is. It is requested that you do a reading of my life through the portal of my body, and a healing and a balancing of who and where I am in my life now. Thank you, Creator. It is done, it is done, it is done. So make your request. And then you can say, once you acknowledge it is done already, show me now. And as you are in this seventh plane, you simultaneously see into your body. Allow yourself again to be shown. Don't try to imagine or block any imagining. Just allow yourself to take a tour of your body. You may notice tensions you weren't aware of before. You may notice feelings you didn't know were there. Those feelings may correspond to different areas of your body. You may be aware of an imbalance in your life, and that may become apparent physically for you right now. Just allow yourself to travel and observe. Whatever becomes apparent to you is fine. Don't try to concretize it or make it specific or think about it. Just observe. Just be in your feeling. And now, back up with Creator. I invite you to request that an unconditional love healing be done on your life through this body. Thank you, Creator. It is done, it is done, it is done. Show me now. And again, allow yourself to see healing energy pouring into your body from the top of your head and throughout the rest of your person. Just trust that whatever you are seeing or feeling is exactly right. And with that seeing and feeling comes clarity. Clarity of presence and purpose. Now I invite you to inhale that energy up from the center of the earth once again, coming up through your feet and up through your body and up through the top of your head once again, keeping you connected always to the Creator of all that is. And allow yourself to merge with whatever calm feelings you may have allowed to arise. Allow yourself to recognize who you are in that groundedness, in that calmness. Whatever you're feeling is perfect. Focusing again on the breath. Feeling yourself once again being breathed. And start to wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Bring yourself fully back into your body. Feel the chair under your seat, the ground or the boards under your feet. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And I invite you now, as we close, to grab a pen if you like and write down any reflections you have about that experience, that guided healing, or anything else that you heard today. And allow that to just live in you. And when you're ready, make a decision. Is the Neuro Muse Incubator the right structure for you in 2026? I've designed it for maximum flexibility. Every session will be recorded, so if you can't make every one, that's all right. You don't have to miss it. And you have access to me via email or text in between so that we can stay connected and you have a community of like-minded and creatively resonant people to engage with. When you're ready, take a few days. If I hear from you before December 1st, you'll be able to enroll at half price. Just send me an email. Just DM me and I'll get you going. Welcome aboard. Have a wonderful holiday season, everyone. Thank you for joining me.